Hi, church family. My name's Angie Nutter. I've been a member here for about 5 years with my husband Brad and my two sons Owen and Eric. And I'd just like to share with you my testimony. So I grew up much like many of you in a Christian home. I grew up in Seattle, Washington. There were generations of my family who belonged to a Presbyterian church. I had a great uncle who founded it, First Presbyterian Church of Seattle. And I grew up just running through the sanctuary, playing tag with my cousins and my sister, and never really leaving the comfort of that safe harbor. My parents both worked. And so my social life was youth group and church on Sunday. So I didn't really experience what the world was until I graduated high school and went away to a big University of Washington, where a lot of my peers believed a lot of different things, and many of them just wanted to be drunk the whole time and not believe anything. And so I was exposed to so much of what the world was made of, and it kind of threw me for this shakeout of what was I, everything that was happening out there was not what I was taught to believe or live my life. And so just like being born American, I was born Christian. And that doesn't really mean something until you leave your country and nobody else speaks your language. So my faith journey really began when I was in college and went away and started to expose myself with other friends that really didn't believe what I believed. So I had a lot of atheist friends, a lot of Jewish friends, just a lot of different faith. And I didn't know what my role was with God. I treated God like an ATM machine and would just dial in what my request was, or Dear Abby. And I never really asked him what he wanted me to do with the knowledge that I had been given from the time I was born and into this Christian family, what I could have done for him, except I do remember being inside a sanctuary, and along the wall was go out and make disciples. Many nations, and I remember praying, God, I will do anything for you. Do not make me a missionary. Do not want to leave Washington. I'm good. Let's just keep it here, And so I did stay in Washington. I didn't leave. I went to a college in Washington. All my friends were from Washington, and then I met my husband Brad, who was from the exotic place of Connecticut and the East Coast, which may as well have been a different country, and fell in love my junior year of college. And he was accepted into Carnegie Mellon's grad school program for business school, and we got married, and I had to move to Pittsburgh which may as well have been the moon for me. We were there for 2 years. We moved actually 5 times. This is our 5th state in 20 years together. We're still married. We're still good. But I went from being very shallow in my faith and not tested to having to travel pretty far. We've moved all over the country. And then what happened is we had two amazing children, and the second one had colic and screamed for 4 months, and I decided I needed to start a women's ministry. The church that we lived at in New Jersey, I started a preschool group, and one of my good friends who helped me start that ministry said, Angie, you would make an amazing yoga teacher, because I was doing a lot of yoga, and I was doing pre and postnatal yoga when I was pregnant with him. And she said, I think other women really could benefit from your knowledge of this. So I explored it with my husband's blessing and went away. And I started to recognize that I was the only Christian and believer. And so I went from having this background of everybody believed what I believed, and everybody was pretty much, if I didn't know them, then they were new. And to being so far, where I lived on the East Coast now, so far from home and family and roots and church, that my church family became like my family, but I started to sort of leave them and go into the wilderness of this yoga world and learn. And nobody believed in Jesus. And there were multiple gods being prayed to. And I would, when it would become, Angie, would you invoke us with this class? Other people were chanting things. I was praying to Jesus. And it became just this outrageous act of faith that I didn't even really recognize how different my faith was until I started to do just the things that God asked us to do as Christians. And so many people would stop and ask and say that they had never seen something that I did or said before, and they would ask me questions about my faith. I've traveled all over the world. I've met people of almost every different religious background. And I've been called lots of things, like a white light or good energy or an old soul, or someone once told me that they knew me in a past life. I've been given a lot of different names, but I always have tried to use my voice to give grace and also to listen, but to also just always bring it back to Jesus and try to really let that be my ministry through it. And I think that for my main point in what my purpose is for here, for this time, is just to tell people who've grown up in the church that there's a lot of comfort right here and stability that you've been given that other people in the world have never known. And if you don't go on those mission trips, or if you don't try to make relationships with people in the communities you live in or you play sports in, you'll never know how much they're suffering, and they need to know the love of God. That can be absolutely an outrageous act just by you being you and loving. So I just want to encourage anybody today that has heard my story, thank you for taking your time to do that, to just remember that God can use you no matter where you are, and if it's at work or it's in this beautiful building, the sanctuary. So just want to bless you all and thank you. Have a good day.